Hey, I want to do a quick review of my latest questionable purchase. I rolled the dice from a forge that I've gotten a lot of confidence in over my past several purchases, which would be Musashi. They are known for creating very inexpensive but well-made swords designed specifically for martial arts practitioners. So you get something of decent quality at a decent price. It's not certainly going to be heirloom quality for most of their silver and some of their gold series, but I'm pretty impressed with what I've gotten from them so far. They fit me very well. They handle for me very well. And there was something in their catalog that's gotten to be a little bit hard to find because it was a limited production. And that was the Musashi Bamboo Fast Cutter, which was designed by Paul Sotheran for performance cutting, designed to be a good cutter, but also a fast cutter for repeated cuts in competition and demonstration. And from his own review, he got most of what he asked for, but not quite. There were a few design changes, like he asked for block same instead of white same, and he asked for a single fuller instead of a double fuller, and we'll take a look at that in a second. But overall, there were things he himself liked about it and things he didn't quite like about it, and I kind of agree with his opinion after spending about a week with this thing. I was a little reluctant to get it, but, you know, it was kind of getting rarer, like I said, and I have a thing for, like, stick swords, and I just wanted to give it a try. It wasn't a big investment, easy roll of the dice. And for once with Musashi, I'm not quite sure about how I feel about this. So let's take a look at what you get. First of all, what looks like a fairly standard Musashi Tsuka in terms of its length of 11 inches, has real ray skin, cotton ito, which is not great, but it's very comfy and it stays put, it's reasonably tight. The fixtures are nicer, goes with that bamboo theme. You've got a nice copper Fuchi and Kashira that are blackened, and then you've got a Menuki that matches that. It is double pinned. It is a little bit thinner than your average Musashi katana, so with my small hands, I thought that'd be a good thing. The scabbard is a fairly standard Musashi piano lacquer, you know, nothing special there, with a fairly basic sageo and all of that. It even has the reinforcing ring around the koiguchi. But one of the first big visual differences you're going to see is the Tsuba, the guard. It's a Hamidashi, not quite an aikuchi. There's a little bit of a guard here. And Paul's thought was, let's put a really minimal guard on it to reduce the weight to make it faster. Well, kind of makes sense, but actually, no, it doesn't. And we'll take a look at that in a second. Now, the blade you're getting is a fairly common Musashi choice of being a 1060 mono steel that is differentially tempered, so it has a real temper line, a real hamon, to about a 55 Rockwell, which gives it a good resilient blade and a good resilient edge for cutting use and abuse. He asked for a single groove bohi, but he got a double, and they're actually two shallow grooves. And one of the issues with that is it doesn't reduce the weight nearly as much as the single fuller. So they're advertising this thing as a bamboo fast cutter. Okay, bamboo theme, clearly. Fast cutter. Not so much either one of those words, and let's take a look at why. Despite what he was going for, this is a beefy blade, which is good for resilient cutting, but, you know, it's 2 pounds 10 ounces. And deciding to go with this is a very thin casting, actually, no real Tsuba. My sweet spot for point of balance is about 3.5 inches, 3 5/8 measured from the Habaki, but this sword's point of balance is way forward. It's about 4.5 inches. That makes it a very weight-forward blade. Because it's a very weight-forward blade, it's not very maneuverable. It feels kind of clunky and awkward and heavy in the hand. So not fast. However, a weight-forward blade theoretically should make a better cutter. So I took that out and took it to the test, and I think I got a lemon. It felt sharp to the touch, but I put it to a milk jug and then a cardboard box, and yeah, I know you're not supposed to do a cardboard box, because, well, not often, because they tend to be abrasive, but I figured, well, okay, I'll cut up the box it came in. I didn't like cutting the box. Then I tried it on paper. I didn't like cutting paper. And then at closer inspection, I realized it just felt sharp. There was enough abrasiveness in whatever stoning they had done to make it feel sharp, but from about the curve of the Kasaki down to most of the Monouchi, I could actually see that the blade was blunt. So yeah, that explained that. So I have been working on it a little bit with stoning to see if I can get that to be a little bit better. I also, there were also a couple of other issues with it. One, the Habaki was loose, and the Saya arrived snug and well fit, but that quickly wore out to the point where now it's dangerous and it falls right out of the scabbard. And I realized that was because they tightened it up by putting like a little bit of like a wood paste in there, which quickly wore away with repeated drawing. So I'm going to have to fix that too. So a couple of issues there. Now, being scientific, I decided to pull the blade apart and try a full-sized Tsuba on it. And lo and behold, a full-size Tsuba did move the balance point back to about 3 3/4 inches, and it felt a whole lot better. However, I couldn't get it fully back together because of the way the handle is cut. For basically having something here that is actually inside the width of like 2 seppa. It's really thin inside. So I'm going to have to do some reshaping in order to get a good guard on it. But I want to select a guard that I really like that fits it. So that might be a project for later. But at least I know, yes, it will change the balance point of the sword to make it handle a lot better. However, in taking it apart, ran into one of the things I tend to see in cheap swords, where it looks like they assembled the sword by shoving the tang onto the handle and then drilling through it in such a way that they left a ton of metal flash just going all the way through the wood, creating almost like rivets. So it was a beast to get the Tsuka off, and then I had to refile the whole tang in order to get those big giant burrs off of there. So between the loose Habaki, the loose Saya, and the trouble getting the handle off, I think, and of course the blunt part, maybe I just got a lemon. It might have escaped some of the quality control. I've seen mostly positive reviews about this blade, but overall feel and performance, I'm just not impressed yet. I think it does have a great deal of potential, so I will probably work on it and get back to you. So I hope you enjoyed this, and hope to see you again.